You're now watching This AFC South Show on Curtis Podcast Network. Hosted by Blake Bellamy, Isaiah Michelli, and Curtis Brown. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to This AFC South Show, episode 62. I, of course, am your host, Curtis Brown. With me, as always, is Blake Bellamy, Isaiah Michelli, and our interviewing Colts fan, Jeff Steckel. And then we have a special treat today. We are joined by Brad Kellner from the WheelHouse on ESPN radio in Houston. What is it, 97.5?
That's it.
Hey, well good memory.
Yeah.
All right.
True listener here.
So, fellas, let's not mess around. Let's go ahead and get into it. Jeff, your Colts are playing right now. So what do you what do you have for your Colts?
It looks like it's the story of the same thing. The line isn't giving Ryan any time. He's already running. It looks like he doesn't even trust his line. There are some plays I've seen where he's running and there's really no defender even there. But I've already seen him get sacked. Luckily, he didn't fumble again. But it's more the same with the offensive line, and they're not really scheming. And I think Nyheim Hines even went down. So I think all they have now is really Philip Lindsay. So they're not really giving him an opportunity to get the ball out fast. He's just running for his life again.
If you take out that one quote, all you got is Philip Lindsay. You don't really got much, man. That's rough.
You got a subtle revenge game, possibly. I doubt it's gonna happen though.
I wouldn't wish Philip Lindsay upon my worst enemy, so I'm sorry having to go through that tonight. That is brutal.
Maybe for the Cowboys, but
yeah.
The Cowboys could take it.
So what's the deal with y'all's O-line, man? Like, I feel like last year was pretty good. Y'all have invested a ton in that group. Like, why are they all so terrible this year?
I don't know. They shelled out. It's the highest paid offensive line right now, but they let I think what was his name, Glowinski go. I think that was a huge mistake. Now it's a disaster. I mean, Quentin Nelson can't play 5 positions, so it's just. I looked at some stats from Matt Ryan in his time in Atlanta, and I think over the last 4 seasons he had about 2.5 seconds average in the pocket, and with Indianapolis he's got about 1.6 seconds. So it's drastic. It's horrible. Like, they got to do something to get him some help.
I like that they brought in Braden's the right guard position. I feel like he might be more natural over there because he seemed really overwhelmed as right tackle.
Yeah, potentially. I don't know. You would think that, given the running game has been pretty good for Indianapolis because of Jonathan Taylor. I mean, you would imagine that would be the game plan, to get the running game going, and then you can just run play action off of that. But it's just not been a thing that Indianapolis can do.
No, he's out today. So I think he avoided a major injury with that ankle sprain, but yeah, he on a short rest. He wasn't going to suit up today. And so again, that kind of left him with Lindsay and Hines, and I think Hines went down on one of the first drives. So whatever run game they were hoping to have, it's not going to be there.
Yeah, you figured the Colts had to get a lot out of Jonathan Taylor this year. He's been like the biggest fantasy disappointment through a month of the season. I mean, Matt Ryan at this stage in his career had no chance unless that run game was going to be as good as it was last year, and that's obviously not the case. So it could be a long year for you guys, man.
I'm hoping not. I mean, it seems like the defense has been. I mean, even when they got kind of blown out by Jacksonville, but even that, it wasn't that. I see you, Isaiah. But even then, I mean, they still held him to 24, even though they had a ton of issues on offense. They haven't really gotten blown out in any of these games. It's just been terrible offense. They can't get anything going or sustain any drives. It's just too much to ask of the defense.
So you think they lose this game, Frank Reich and Ballard to boot?
I hope so. I was actually calling for it after the collapse with Jacksonville last season again. Thanks, Isaiah. Yeah, I was calling for it then. They had a couple of winning in games and they blew it both times, and they started this season flat. Irsay's never fired a coach midseason, but if they don't win in Denver, I think Schwarzenegger is going to be paying a visit to the Colts. Someone's going to get terminated. There it is.
All right. That was the all right. I'll take it.
It was bad. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I'm watching Matt Ryan just barely avoid sacks right now.
I was wrong about him. He can move in the pocket. It was only like a foot, but he can move in the pocket.
Man, he looks so old. Like he like his everything about the way he's playing just looks old. Yeah. I don't understand like the dramatic drop off.
I know. I thought the Colts offense would be better this year. Like I thought Ryan would be an upgrade over Carson Wentz. I mean, I knew Ryan was past his prime, but I still thought he'd be able to give you something. And a statue is a good way to describe him, but he's looked awful all year long. So I don't know what the Colts are going to do. We were talking about it on the show earlier today. It's like, I'm thinking the Colts at some point, and Jeff, I want to hear from you. Like they got to stop this short-term piecemeal quarterback plan that they've been doing since Luck retired. Like it might be better for y'all as much as it would suck, but just to be one of the worst teams in football and draft a Bryce Young or a CJ Stroud or a Will Levis and just hope like with the rest of the talent y'all have, he can be pretty good and y'all can figure it out kind of early on.
Yeah, for sure. And that kind of brings up what I think Isaiah said it several episodes ago. And I kind of got a bone to pick with that. He said next year Joe Flacco would be in Indianapolis. I don't want to hear it again. Don't ever say that again.
Hey, you look pretty
might
good.
Be too young for him.
Yeah, that's true.
Might be too young. I'm sure Peyton still got. Like,
hey, look at that beautiful holding on the left tackle. The one play Matt Ryan actually leaves the pocket, and there's a holding on your rookie left tackle.
Oh God.
Yeah, second of the day.
I mean, one thing about it I'm going to say is I don't see them getting rid of Ballard and Reich. Just imagine the jersey sales are going to get after they draft a rookie quarterback in the top 5. So, not even to really knock the Colts, and that's a bad joke, but it's also kind of not a joke. I think if they do stay and they don't get rid of him, I think it's going to be to potentially bring in a big cat in the early top 10 and try and get some jersey sales and see if they can build something around him. Because at this point, obviously, as the Chargers media staff put out, the quarterback carousel isn't working. I think they were better off with Wentz because he was younger, could still move. Was that a fump? No, I have you starting in fantasy. Anyways, but I don't see them doing it because they've never done it. In the 22 years I've been on this earth, they've never fired a coach mid-season. Not a long time, but it's an amount of time. So I just don't see it happening. And I think that, they might potentially say, hey, try to win your games, but if not, we're bringing in somebody new with a new quarterback there to try and, get them in to get in their guy and build a team around them. I think you guys have some good pieces. They've just got to, I think at this point, there's got to be a change,
At what time do you think that they switch over to Ellinger and just throw him in, just get him some experience? To see
I don't think they will. I don't think they will. They have a better chance of winning that way, and I don't think they will.
Foles is the number 2, by the way. That's
Foles. Wait, Foles is there now?
Yeah. Foles is out of the offseason. Yeah,
Foles is number 2. Foles is the number 1 next year. What are you talking about? Come on.
Yeah, they had Foles. They had him on the camera warming up and everything. Like
I didn't even realize that. You just need Matt Ryan to get hurt. That's what they're waiting on, and then Foles is going to carry him with an undefeated season to the end, and all of a sudden Jonathan Taylor, those guys are going to start playing good. Like they're just messing around until Ryan gets hurt, and then it's Foles season.
It does look like they're trying to get Ryan killed. I don't know if it's on purpose or.
I don't know if y'all heard before the game. He didn't know Jelani Woods' name. Did y'all see this?
Are you serious?
He was doing an interview with Tony Gonzalez, I think, with Amazon Prime. I think that's where Tony G is now. And he's talking about like his weapons on the outside, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we've got Mo Alley Cox, and we've got this new tight end, Jelani Pierce." Like he combined Jelani Woods and Alec Pierce's name together, and like definitely like stuttered to the point where it wasn't just like, he was talking too fast and made a mistake. Like he literally was like, "Oh shoot, I do not know this guy's last name." So
it's funny because like everybody in the Colts thing is like, I made like a big post before week 1 before week 2 before the Jacksonville game, and I was like, Wentz isn't the guy, or Wentz wasn't the problem. You guys should have kept Wentz. He's better than Ryan. I was like, he's more athletic at this point. He had just about as good, if not a little bit better of a season last year. Of course, he was on a better team. But a lot of people were saying, oh, Matt Ryan's a great leader and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, now that I hear that, I'm like, is he really that great of a leader if he's mixing up names and stuttering? And I don't know, man.
Look at that highlight by Matt Ryan.
I just saw that. That was hey, it's just like the Kenny Pickett the other day. He was 7 for 10, but none of them hit the ground, Like,
Jesus Christ. Sorry.
Yeah, oh, you just got
I just saw it, man.
But I think for this game, it's still winnable. The Broncos offense is terrible.
Oh man.
And and this is not saying the Colts have a chance because they're good. I'm still not convinced. They have a lot of questions to be answered, at least on my end. But the Broncos are still so bad that I think you guys still have a chance of sticking in this game, even if they go down and score a touchdown right here. Because your defense is at least good enough that they have 6 points rather than probably more. But also that's help from Russell Wilson. But I don't know, man. I think it's just going to be a tough game. I don't think there's going to be a clear winner of this game, no matter what team wins.
We're all losing.
Yeah, having to watch this.
Yeah.
Cruel and unusual punishment, it feels like.
D tier Thursday night football.
Yeah.
But the main reason I feel like they're going to make a switch with Reich midseason, that this could be the first time. I've seen a lot of bad play calling from Reich. I mean, it's almost like he's reading from Bill O'Brien's old playbook. Just run middle. And, against Houston, he ran a wildcat. It was 4th and goal, I think, from maybe the 5. He ran some ridiculous wildcat play to Nyheim Hines, and it got blown up in a turnover on downs. I mean, you left 3 points on the field. Maybe. It was Blankenship, so you never know. But and then you go to the Tennessee game. It was 4th and 21. And instead of, going – I know it's a tough down to convert, but you decided to kick the field goal, and you'd still need a touchdown to win. You'd still need the onside recovery. Onside recovery kicks are, I think it was over 2020 to 2021. There was only like 3 successful attempts. So basically, to me, Frank Reich was saying, yeah, I'd rather lose by 4 instead of 7. It's just, he's not putting his team in positions to win.
Yeah. I wonder, because this division is so bad this year, how does that impact Reich and whether or not he gets fired? It could be, well, we still have a chance to win this division because the other 3 teams suck, so let's get rid of this guy and hope the interim guy can rally the troops. Or it could be, well, let's not switch things up because we still have a chance to win this division because it's so bad. I don't know the answer to that. I think maybe in a different year it'd be easier to get rid of Frank Reich, but because the Colts are probably always going to have a chance in the AFC South, they might feel like, all right, we should stick with this guy and see if he can get us to the playoffs. I don't know.
I mean, theoretically, even the Texans are 2 games out?
Yeah, a game and a half, I guess, right, with the tie. So, if they win in Jacksonville this weekend, I don't think they will, but they're right there.
Yeah.
They're right there, so it's a mess.
Yeah.
All right. Well, sorry, I had to go put my son up. He escaped his crib. So, yeah. So let's go ahead and move to the aforementioned Jags game. Isaiah, what you got to talk about with your Jags?
Made a list this week so I don't get off track. Number 1, stop Dameon Pierce. I think there is nothing more important in this game than stopping Dameon Pierce. I'm not scared of Jerry Hughes. I'm not scared of Jonathan Grenard. I'm not scared of Jalen Petrie, who's looked like one of the best safeties in the league so far. Right? He's a safety? Yeah, he's a safety, right? Yeah. I know things. Stopping Dameon Pierce, though, that dude is a beast. I'm a huge Florida fan, obviously. So, I mean, I know how good he is. He is very explosive. He can just a couple games, whenever his senior year at Florida, he rushes for, you're stopping him 2-3 yards, 3 yards, finds the smallest seam, breaks 5 tackles, goes for 80 yards. You have to stop him. A lot of his yards are coming after contact too. He's not a guy that's easy to take down. Doug Peterson said it very clearly. It's going to take a lot of guys, obviously, to get him to the ground. Obviously is the key word there. He's a big dude. He's sneaky fast. He's not a guy that's going to blow you away on the speed, the speedometer, but if he gets going, he's not someone that's going to arm tackle, small push out of bounds. I mean, he's going to stiff arm you. He's going to run you over. He's going to outrun you because you're going to undershoot him. Stopping Dameon Pierce is my number one thing to do against the Texans this week, and I'd love to hear what you guys would like to say about that, because I think you guys are probably on the same page.
Yeah, I mean, if the Jags have a chance to win, it starts and stops right there. You stop the run game, and Davis Mills just becomes basically unusable for the remainder of the game. Check downs because he's playing scared. The random deep shot that's like 15 yards overthrown, those kind of throws. That's what we're going to get out of Davis Mills. Yeah. That's if Dameon can't get anything going.
There was a belief, like Kyle Allen was warming up on the sidelines last week, and there's a belief that if Dameon Pierce didn't break off that 75-yard touchdown run, that the Texans were going to make a switch at quarterback. So, yeah, which Jags rush defense is going to show up, right? I mean, the first 3 weeks of the season, they were one of the best in football, and then Philly had, 210 against y'all last week? So it's like, and the Eagles' rushing attack is better. They're deeper, and obviously Hurts is a threat to run, and Davis Mills is not. But, which Jags defense shows up? Because if it's the first 3 weeks of the year, Jags defense, then, yeah, you guys will do a good job of shutting down Dameon Pierce, and that gives you all a very good chance to win and cover the number, too.
History shows that there's not a monsoon, Jacksonville's defense is stopping the run pretty good. Hey, but I don't like that disrespect, though. Davis Mills is pretty freaking fast. He just doesn't leave the pocket a lot, but he is fast.
Well, the neck gives him a couple extra yards.
Oh yeah, of course.
So that makes a difference.
He's the one sprinter where doing this actually gets you a win,
Yeah. I feel better about him running than Rex Burkhead. So
if his history shows that Jacksonville's really good at messing it up against players they shouldn't. So I have a really good feeling that Rex Burkhead might be y'all's leading rusher this game, just because Jacksonville, just like last week, we stopped Jalen Hurts pretty well. But then we had all these other guys we weren't worried about that were just freaking destroying us. So, I mean, they might overcommit on Pierce. And then, when Rex Burkhead's in, they're like, oh, they're going to pass the ball. Who cares? And then he's going to run right up the middle. And, it's going to be a good game, I think. I hope it's not in terms of Jacksonville winning and pulling more ahead out in the division. I mean, of course, but history shows that this could be number 9 for Houston in a row. I don't want to see that happen, but it could be. We struggle against Houston, like I said last week. Houston and Tennessee, until I see us beat those teams, I'm not convinced we're the best in the division as much as I, talk crap and say that we are. We still have to beat both of those teams. We haven't beat either of those teams in a couple years. Even one time in the season. We've been swept by both teams for 3 or 4 consecutive years, if not more. I mean, those are 2 teams we have to beat. I think that this is going to be a good test for Jacksonville to see if we're just, the same old Jacksonville Jaguars who can start out pretty decent in week 1, 2, 3, and 4 and then drop off, or if Trevor Lawrence is going to continue to progress and, keep us going. But I think if we can put some pressure on Davis Mills and keep Dameon Pierce to minimal gains, locked down in the backfield, I think that this could potentially be a walk-away win, or it could potentially be a runaway win. It just kind of depends on which Jacksonville defense shows up, like you mentioned. I know Fadakasi got hurt last week, and as soon as he did, there was an immediate drop-off, and that's when they really started getting us up the middle. So if he comes back healthy, I'd love to see it. I think he's still listed on the questionable report. It's questionable as of right now, day by day. It's going to be a tough one. I don't think it's going to be an easy game for Jacksonville, as some people might say, but ways to win is going to be to do that. And then also too, just our tackles have to keep Jerry Hughes and Grenard off of Trevor. I mean, Jawan Taylor, he's looked great up until last week. I mean, I know it was a rain game. The Eagles probably have the best, if not top 3 defensive lines in the country right now. But I mean, Taylor got manhandled on multiple plays. Cam Robinson let up a sack. Trevor was, his jersey was not clean that game. So, I mean, what O-line shows up. I think that's another big one, because Houston does have a D-line and a rush defense that can be very dangerous. And, Petrie's very rangy and he hits hard. So, I mean, if he catches a couple guys right after catching the ball, or he might be able to, Trevor's getting some pressure and gets grabbed. He might be throwing some, ugly passes out there that Petrie and other guys can come up and get. So D-line and O-line, I think, are going to be the 2 big keys for Jacksonville to win this game. And, I think that's it for us, really.
Yeah, I'm going to have to echo that pretty well. But I'm going to have to I think that Jacksonville is going to give. I mean, because when they lost last week, it's not like they just kind of like gave up. Like it was a solid game. Like 21 to 29 is not a bad score. That's a one-score ball game with 5 turnovers. Yeah. So I mean, I think the Jags are even in that game. Like they should not have been in that game on paper. The Eagles were 3-0. Everybody's saying, "Oh, Jalen Hurts probably the best quarterback in the league right now," at least statistically speaking. So, I mean, you guys went out and actually performed against a team that is supposed to be, up there, and then you fucking mollywop the Chargers. Just I did not see that coming at all. Wish I would have started the Jags defense that day, but whatever.
How many times have you said that in the last 5 years? Wish I would have started the Jags defense. Count on my one hand, probably.
Bro, yeah, you know what's crazy about this year? I tried to trade someone the Steelers defense for Jacksonville's defense, and they turned down the trade.
No way.
Not only that, I added Elijah Moore, and they turned it down again. Like that's like it might just be this week. Like they might think that the Magic's going to come out, and they might think we're going to do really good this week. But I mean, like that's unheard of. I mean, the Steelers defense for Jacksonville. I mean, that's a who's this idiot? Let me take that. But I don't know, man. I mean, they have had a lot of turnovers this year, but that kind of surprised me a little bit when that trade got declined twice.
Yeah, y'all are well coached. I mean, it's a night and day difference from last year to this year too, and y'all have some talent too. But like you said, I mean, you got to win some more divisional games to prove that you're the best team in this division. But man, you could tell. I mean, obviously a lot of buzz coming out of camp was that things were different, but until I saw it, I was a little skeptical. And it's clear that it's a completely different bunch down there this year.
Having a functioning adult as a head coach definitely helped. I mean, we have like 5 offensive coordinators as like coaching offensive assistants and different stuff. Like our quarterback coach, our offensive coordinator, Doug Peterson, our freaking passing game coordinator. They're all former quarterbacks, so they're really like working with. Is that a fumble? They didn't know. They blew it dead. But sorry. But they're all working with Trevor. They're developing him. Where last year, I mean, somebody said something to me, and this is like way off topic in a sense, but like somebody said something to me whenever I was a little bit younger, working at a wind turbine plant, where we're arguing about who was better, Tim Tebow or Cam Newton. And somebody he was yelling at me. He's like, the one thing Urban Meyer and his staff has never done, they've never developed a quarterback. A quarterback, whenever they get with Urban Meyer, looks exactly the same as the day that they leave Urban Meyer. And that was one thing. Like it looked like Trevor took a step back. It even looked worse whenever he got there. Yeah. But now that we have a solid staff and everything's going on, I mean, he's making progression. Last week was a bad week. I mean, it was raining. I personally blame coaching staff a little bit more than Trevor. Of course, he's got a hold on that ball, but we ran the ball 16 times between our two top running backs in a rain game. And they were both averaging over 3. They were averaging 3.5 to 4 yards a carry. Like that's a first down every 3 runs. I mean, you can't sit there and make Trevor throw 23 times when he's completing less than half his passes. At some point, you got to buckle down and start running the ball. But I don't know, man. I think it's gonna be a good week. But again, this is one that concerns me every year because whether we're supposed to be the better team or not, like last year, early in the year, they were like, "Oh, Jacksonville's gonna be better than the Texans this year," and I mean. They came out and freaking beat us. Trevor Lawrence threw 3 picks. And I mean, it was just, until I see that, I'm not exactly convinced. I'm a huge fan. I'm the biggest Jacksonville fan you probably ever meet. But I think it's going to be a good performance out of both teams. The Texans always play better than they are on paper every single time they play us. It doesn't matter how bad or good either team is. I'm glad Watson's not there anymore because he's not going to throw the ball out of sacks and make 50-yard completions this time around.
And the masseuses in the area can breathe easy.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Yeah, but
R.I.P. City of Cleveland masseuses.
R.I.P. Masseuse Convention. Oh, man. It's gonna be a good game. I'm excited. What do you guys think? What are y'all's ways to win? What's going on here?
Well, I mean, obviously Pierce has to run the damn ball. They gotta get him going early, and they gotta get him going often. If you can't do that, the offense can't do much of anything. Again, kind of just rehashing earlier, but Davis Mills has shown that he's not necessarily a field stretcher. I think he's at this point a low end game manager.
All the stretch went into his neck, so
that's true. That's true. So yeah, if Pierce can get going, and my main matchup to watch this week is whoever the hell is lined up against Titus Howard and Titus Howard. That because he just can't at all right tackle or play. I don't think he's even really starting material, I guess, is what I'm looking for. He just kind of gets beat so damn often.
Isn't he from Alabama?
No.
He's like some D2 school, right?
I think he's like South Alabama or something.
Yeah,
Alabama State.
I thought he was. Huh.
Alabama State.
Very small school guy.
Yeah, as soon as we drafted him, I was like, shit. We needed a tackle. I don't even know what school this guy went to.
It was Alabama State, not Alabama. Wait, that is Alabama. He played for Alabama.
No, not quite.
Yeah. He played in the state of Alabama, yes.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. Yeah, it's weird because Titus actually looked pretty good at right tackle last year. He kind of swapped between that and left guard, and he looked lost at guard, but he looked solid at tackle. So people, myself included, were pretty excited about what he was going to do with a full year at right tackle, and he is underwhelmed. Curtis, you're dead on. He has not been nearly good enough. So, yeah, they got to get more out of him. And then Dameon Pierce, of course, is right. He had nearly 10 yards a carry against the Chargers last week, but he only had 14 carries because the Texans went down 27-7 at halftime. So Davis Mills and this offense, they're not explosive enough to play from behind like that. So they've got to find a way to keep this close. Obviously, you want to get out to a lead early so you can really give them a steady diet of Dameon Pierce. But yeah, you can't get that far behind early on and have to play catch up through the air like you did last week and expect to win. So just a better start for the Texans is also key for this one for sure.
I just agree. Division games are always really tough, so I don't know who's going to win this game. The Texans remind me a lot of the Detroit Lions in the sense that they're better than their record. The Lions, they've scored third most points in the NFL, and they don't look very good on paper. Their record looks terrible. And same with Houston, you're winless, but I think you guys are better. This could be your first game that you win. Yeah, as long as you feed your weapons, Brandon Cooks, get Pierce, make him a factor, and then just do your best to contain James Robinson and ETN because they're what's going to get you. I expect both them or one of them at least to have a pretty big game. So I'm starting ETN in my fantasy team. But yeah, I do have Jacksonville winning in my picks, but I would not be shocked if Houston wins. It's so hard picking division games because you really never know. It's always a fight.
Unless it's the Colts in Jacksonville.
Unless it's the Colts in Jacksonville, yes. Or Titans versus Luck.
Yeah. Jeff, you got anything?
Yeah, I will start by saying that I'm pretty jealous of your coach there in Jacksonville. I like what Peterson's done. I think he's a great head coach. He definitely gets the most out of the talent that he has. Mm-hmm. So, like you said, the Texans have to get out to a start and run the ball really well and keep them on the sideline. So the running game is definitely what's going to win it for Houston if they do. But I'm siding more to Jacksonville on this one too.
I think Reich might be on Peterson's coaching staff next year.
I wouldn't have said on anyone.
I hope not.
Oh, come on. You don't want Frank Reich? You can have Carson Wentz be your backup.
He'll bring Wentz and
dream team.
No, Peterson finally got the guy he wanted instead of Reich. So he's set now. He got Taylor. He wanted Taylor in Philly. Everything fell apart when they wouldn't let him have Taylor, and so here we are. But I hope not. I really hope Frank Reich's not on our staff next year. I don't need any of that negative energy out there. So
be sure it's looking like he's going to be available.
Yeah.
Let's just hope Houston doesn't try to interview him for something. They have a tendency of interviewing people who should not be interviewed. Josh McCown.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
And Hines Ward, too, I believe.
Yeah. Yep. That would have been interesting. I didn't even know that was possible. I saw that and I was like Hines Ward, like the Steelers receiver Hines Ward? I didn't know he was coaching. Is that a thing? Where's he at?
He's like a wide receivers coach, I believe.
I think he got a job in the XFL. I think he's going to be a head coach there next year.
Oh God.
I couldn't tell you what team, but I'm pretty sure.
Work his way up.
Yeah, well, I think he'd rather be in the XFL than be with the Texans right now. So,
That's pretty.
Hey man, official NFL subsidiary now. They're going to be testing out new rules for the NFL. You know,
there you go.
they'll
I
be
like
on
it.
the front lines.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I think that pretty well covers the Texans and the Jags. So Blake, lead us off. Titans.
So the Titans, this just feels like a trap game. This reminds me a lot of the Jets game last season. The whole time going into that week, I was like, Jets are going to win this game. Titans are terrible against rookie quarterbacks. I know Wentz is not a rookie quarterback, but like it felt like a trap game. The Titans, they also tend to lose to not great teams. We are playing against Carson Wentz, which makes me happy because Carson Wentz is 0-4 in his career against the Titans. So I'm happy about that. So that's a good sign. The matchups do scare me. They have very good wide receivers, even though Jahan Dotson is out, and it looks like Curtis Samuel might not play. I believe he's dealing with an illness. So we'll see. If the Commanders throw it anywhere near Caleb Farley's direction, I think they're just going to torch us all game. The Titans are a weird team because they've scored on every first drive, a touchdown on the first drive of every game this season. However, they've only scored 5 touchdowns besides that. They've been outscored 64-7 in the second half. So in order to win, they're going to have to play all 4 quarters. I don't know what's going on after halftime. I don't know what Vrabel's telling them, what he's spiking in their Gatorade. It's ridiculous because they just quit playing. And the only good part about that is in the second half, that's when the best player on the Titans comes out, and that's Stonehouse, baby. That man can kick it. He's probably the best punter I've ever seen in my life. And we dealt with Brett Kern the last 15 years. And I must say, watching Stonehouse is immaculate. I don't ever want to see him on the field, but every time he is on the field, it is a joy. But we'll see. I mean, I feel like the Titans might win this game. The defense is terrible. They're just bringing people from the gas station to play corner over our first-round pick and Caleb Farley. It's sad. I do like the rookies. Chico Conquo looked incredible at tight end position. Roger McCreary is starting at corner. He's our second-round pick out of Auburn. He screws up every now and then, but he's our best corner. I would say that he's probably the best over Christian Fulton, which everyone probably would disagree, but Fulton's always hurt, and he consistently gets burned. But we'll see. Ugo Amadi is returning for the Titans at cornerback, so at least we have a slot guy while Elijah Molden is still on the injured reserve.
Yeah, this is a big stretch for y'all, right? I mean, a 2-game win streak already. Mm-hmm. And what, the Commanders, the Colts, then the Texans, right? You get with a bye week in between. Like, those are all winnable games.
They are.
You guys might be favored in all 3 of those games. So it's like that could be a 5-game win streak. And if you could put that together in this year's AFC South, then you might start to run away with things a little bit. So soft part of the schedule, it feels pretty important for the Titans right now.
It is. And our front four is generating so much pressure, and Carson Wentz just keeps getting sacked. So I do like that matchup a lot as well. I think Jeffrey Simmons is going to eat. Rashad Weaver, I believe he's 3rd in the NFL in sacks. He's got a sack every game. That's really a first-year starter. He was basically a redshirt rookie last year because he tore his ACL and missed the entire season. So it's really nice seeing him out there. He's high motor, but he will take plays off. Which is unfortunate, but if we can get his stamina up or something, he needs to run some sprints and build up that stamina so he can stay on the field all 3 downs because he can be a problem. Bud Dupree is hurt, so that's definitely something to keep an eye on. If we get every pass rusher healthy, then Carson Wentz, man, he's going to have a rough day.
Yeah, I anticipate that the Titans are going to have a little bit of issue getting the run game going with Derrick Henry. Because I like Jonathan Allen. I think that's his name. Yeah, Jonathan Allen.
Alabama boys.
Yeah. Well, they just draft exclusively SEC linemen, and they're always like the biggest one available.
Or the fastest one available.
That's true. That's true.
I must say with this.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, go.
What's up?
You're good. You got it.
I was just saying another thing that's strange about this game is I do have the Titans winning this game. But it also must be noted I'm 0-4 this year picking Titans.
Oh, no. All right, so I'm betting the farm on the Commanders.
I know, it's rough.
The Bellamy curse.
Okay.
It really
Good to
is.
know. Thank you for the free money, man. We just met tonight. That's an awesome gift, Blake. Appreciate that.
No
I
problem.
saw-
Yeah, I bet everything on it.
I saw a thing talking about the AFC South this year, and it's like Jacksonville's like a solid team who can put up a fight with anybody. It was like the Colts and the Titans are both teams that can win some games but lose to every team in the NFL.
Mhm.
Like, I was like, that's kind of like the thing is like whichever like side of them comes out, they're either gonna win like against a team they probably shouldn't, or they're gonna lose to a team they probably shouldn't. Like, it's just, I think if that offensive line can gel a little bit, I shouted you out last week, Blake, about Chig Okonkwo getting started. I was like, Blake did call it. I mean,
first touchdown.
yeah. He's good, man. He's super athletic for how big he is. The offensive line, if they can get Derrick Henry going, they can make it easy on Tannehill again, and that's a big thing, is taking as much pressure off Tannehill to be a pocket passer as possible. Especially losing some weapons and the way they've been, but not having all of your starters out there because of injuries kind of hurts. But hopefully Henry can get started. I know.
All right, it's about to wrap, so
Matt Ryan just fumbled again.
Attaboy. So I'll send a new link in just a second. It's gonna download, and then I'll send the link out.
Aye, Captain.
Good.
All right, so we're talking about the Titans. Blake, do you have any other points you wanted to hit on?
I would like to see more Robert Woods, and I'd like to see more Dontrell Hilliard, because Dontrell Hilliard brings like a speed aspect to this football team that we're desperately needed. Every one of the Titans is slow, except for Chig Okonkwo, and Derrick Henry's fast, but like he's so big, it doesn't look like he's a burner like he actually is. But nobody lets him get in space, and plus Derrick Henry can't catch. That dude's got stones for hands. Like, it's crazy how much they insist on passing the football when the dude drops more than Melvin Gordon fumbles. And it's just like, I don't know why they insist on passing the football. It's terrible. Treylon Burks is out for a while. I hope Josh Gordon plays, just because they haven't used him. So I'd like to see what he can do, because they clearly don't trust Kyle Phillips. Dude fumbled twice already, and I think he played like 4 snaps last week after starting the first 2 games.
Yeah,
So
the Titans definitely need some more production out of the wide receiver room. Even if Burks is out, I mean, this is a team last year that was able to literally plug and play across the entire team and won their way to a 1 seed. So I don't know if they can do, I don't know if they got lightning in a bottle or not, or what the hell they're giving these people coming off the streets, but they're going to need more of it, because they've already, the record they set last year, they're already like on pace for that record. So I don't know. Maybe they need to like do some more conditioning, working out or something, because this is just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. For me, it's like too early to tell with the Titans, right? Like, I'm still trying to figure out who the 2022 Titans are. Like, I don't think they're as good as last year's team. I also don't think last year's team was ever the best team in the AFC, right? Even though they were the 1 seed. I don't know how many people were picking them to make it to the Super Bowl when the playoffs started. So, like, I was pretty close to burying them after the first 2 weeks. And I know the 2 teams they've beaten, haven't been very good this season, but like, I'm still waiting to see. Like, if they can win these next 3 games against weaker opponents, then okay, they play Kansas City right after that. Obviously, that'll be a test. But if they go 1-2 against Washington, Indy, and Houston, then it's like, all right, man. I don't know. At what point do you move on from Tannehill? Right? At what point does Malik Willis get some run? Does that happen this year? Like, when does the direction of the Titans move from like focusing on this year to, okay, let's see how we can move on to next year and beyond?
Yeah, no, you can't really win a lot of games throwing 137 yards on 21 attempts. And you can't really win a lot of games scoring all your points in the first half. They've got to figure out a lot of things, and they got to figure it out real quick. This is everybody in the Facebook groups that we're in, the AFC South Trash Talk Division or whatever, 2.0. Everybody, it was a race between the Colts and the Titans all offseason. And now it looks like it's the Jags' race to lose. I don't understand it at all. I don't think Malik needs to get on the field anytime soon, just because if you're quarterback is coming from a college offense that is similar to a high school offense, he needs like a lot of time to learn how to NFL offense.
Yeah. I mean, what happens though if like I don't think the Titans are going to be drafting that high, but what if they have a top 10 pick and like Will Levis is staring them in the face, you know, like you just move on. It's not like you spend a premium pick on Malik Willis, so it feels like he wouldn't be that hard to move on from. But do you go quarterback, or do you, is that why you maybe see what you have with Malik Willis before you have to make that decision? Like if things fall apart the last 4 weeks of the season, you're out of it. Do you see what you have with Willis to decide, all right, maybe we can roll with him or we bring somebody else in this off season? Like, I wonder. I know you don't want to think like that, Blake. Like you're obviously hopeful the Titans can find some magic from last year again and get back to the postseason. But what would happen if things go off the rails? I don't know the answer to that.
I feel like that would depend on Tannehill's play. Like if Tannehill has a good season, but we just lose, then I say we still roll with him. But I mean, if we're picking, like say 8th overall, and Levis is there, we're taking Levis because I mean that guy he looks special. I watched him against the Ole Miss in the game. I mean, they lost, but he consistently makes NFL throws. He's got an arm and he's accurate. Like he's throwing darts out there against Ole Miss, he's a pretty good team. So I like that his game would translate well to the NFL. I don't want Stroud. If Stroud's there, then no, let's roll with Malik Willis and Tannehill. Just because I don't trust Ohio State quarterbacks. They're all terrible, and nobody's ever
the correct way to think.
Say what?
So that is the correct way to view that. I don't want.
Yes, I don't care who you are. I don't care if they threw 100 touchdowns and 0 picks. I'm not touching an Ohio State quarterback. But no, if Titans are very bad, I mean, there are a lot of issues. We really need an offensive lineman. I would, in the draft right now, if the draft was today, we're getting a left tackle. Have to. This patchwork offensive line is embarrassment. They can all go this year, and I wouldn't blink an eye, except for Nicholas Petit-Frere, the third-round pick, actually out of Ohio State as well. But he's the bright side of this offense.
Yeah. Levis is good, man. I'm a Florida fan, and he diced us up. He had one 54 air yards pass to the end zone to the freshman. I mean, put it perfectly. He was coming down with that ball, or no one was. I mean, it was a high point pass. It was great. I think he was 13 of 15 or 14 of 16 or 14 of 15 going into halftime against Florida. Like, there's not a lot of college quarterbacks that have that kind of completion percentage against, at that point, a pretty solid Florida defense, but I'm kind of on the fence about him now. But I mean, Levis makes a lot of good throws. I know this isn't really like a draft preview, but I think if it does come down to it, I think you guys could end up doing that. But like I mentioned a couple weeks ago, I think you should give Malik Willis a shot at least if it goes too bad for too long. I mean, I think he's very dynamic. He has a very powerful arm. He's very fast. He could potentially either be what like Hurts or Lamar Jackson is to those teams eventually, or he could just be another guy that's super athletic but can't put it all together in the NFL and can't read defenses. But
kind of like Justin Fields.
He reminds me a lot of Josh Allen coming out of college because Josh Allen had like a 50% accuracy rate, but he had a cannon arm, as a heck of an athlete. And that's the same with Malik Willis. And you can coach accuracy. Most quarterback coaches, they say, I want the physical skill sets. I can teach accuracy and pocket control and things like that. And Malik Willis is a smart guy. He can learn to read NFL defenses. I just don't want him starting now because I think it could stun his growth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't want Malik Willis, I mean, I can think of a place where we'd like. I mean, it looks like we'll be picking in the top 10 right now, but I mean.
I was gonna say that you could always pick like Levis or somebody, and then you could just dangle Malik Willis in front of the Colts and be like, "Hey, by the way, I know he's a little young for you guys, but 3rd, 4th round pick, and he could be yours." Like,
I mean, Willis or Joe Flacco.
How about you just bring in both? Bring in both. You let Malik Willis play, and then he gets hurt, and Joe Flacco comes in, saves the season.
Oh yeah, of course.
Boom! I should be the GM of the Colts.
Well, has Fitzpatrick played for the Colts yet? He's played for a really good.
No, he's in the booth right now.
Yeah, he's in the booth.
Yeah, no, he's doing
They have to
Amazon
make a
Prime.
phone call. I have to pay him some good money right now. Amazon money is hard to beat.
Yeah, we could use a little Fitzmagic.
It's hard to have 9 kids and go back to the NFL. He's not Brady. He likes his family.
And they're all smart as hell too. I'll never forget that like post-game press conference where his son got up there and did like he multiplied 2 3-digit numbers together and did it before the calculator could. His kid was like 6. I was like, what the? I can't even do that. Harvard guys.
Can't even do that with a calculator.
Yeah.
But I think we're kind of getting here towards the end. Does anybody have any final comments? Maybe just kind of a prediction or let's ride, perhaps?
Oh, that was going to come at the end of the show.
I got a question for you, BK, if you don't mind.
Yeah, fire away.
If you could steal any player, no questions asked, from the AFC South and add to the Texans, who would you pick?
Oh, we're doing the NFL street exercise, huh?
Yes, sir.
Steal any play. It's probably Trevor Lawrence.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Texans they need a quarterback, and Trevor Lawrence is the best one. He's young. I feel better about him than any of the guys coming out of the draft this year. So, yeah, I mean, Trevor Lawrence with this talent around him, like the Texans wouldn't be as good as the Jags because the Jags roster is a lot better and deeper than the Texans right now. But they need a quarterback. They got to figure that thing out. They don't have it with Davis Mills, so I would take the young, controllable QB right now over anybody else.
That's a good pick.
Yeah. Who would yours be, like, for Tennessee?
For Tennessee, this might be an unpopular pick right now just because of how his team's playing, but I would probably take Quentin Nelson. I might take him, or I might take Shaq Leonard. Even with the injuries, assuming he's healthy, I would probably take him.
Yeah. You want Darius Leonard, man. You don't want Shaq Leonard.
Yeah, I want Darius Leonard.
Injuries.
We don't want Shaq Leonard either. We want Darius back.
Oh, man.
Darius played.
Yeah.
BK, have you, I know you're living in Houston or whatever, so you don't probably get a lot of Tennessee football out there as far as University of Tennessee. Have you seen much about Hendon Hooker?
Yeah, man. I'm a huge college football fan. I'm a fan of the real UT though, the one in Austin, Texas. Over whatever out there. You guys volunteered to give us the name, I heard. So thank you for that. No, Hendon Hooker's like 35 years old or something, but he's pretty good. He's having a good year. Heupel's doing a good job. So y'all are what? It's at LSU this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that's a big test, obviously, going into Death Valley. But no, Hooker's a solid player. I don't know how much pro potential he has, if any, but he's in his 18th year of college ball. It feels like he's put it together.
I think he's like a sixth-year senior.
Yeah, he'd be 25 and a half when he got drafted.
That's insane.
God.
I didn't realize how old he was until the Florida game, and they said that was the oldest combination of starting quarterbacks in the last 20 years or something.
I didn't realize that. I was thinking like 23, 24. Oh, God.
Yeah, he's
Trevor
24
Lawrence.
now, but yeah.
It was Trevor Lawrence's birthday today, and he's turned 22, and I'm like, holy crap, I'm older. It reminded me that I'm older than Trevor Lawrence. I'm like, these guys are younger than me now. This shit's crazy. Me and him graduated the same. Me and him graduated the same year of high school. It's crazy to see.
It's weird watching players that I watched get drafted or play college football, get drafted, then retire. Like Calvin Johnson. That was weird watching.
Yeah.
The boat.
Well, all right. BK, thanks for coming on, brother. If you got anything you wanted to plug?
Yeah, man. No, appreciate you guys having me on. A lot of fun. Listen to the Wheelhouse every weekday afternoon from 3 to 7, ESPN Houston. You can find it online at ESPN975.com if you're outside of H-Town. But that's it, fellas. Had a lot of fun. You guys do great work. Enjoy the show and appreciate the opportunity to come on for a little bit.
Well, we're very, very happy to have you on, brother.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
My 97.5 is a completely different radio station over here, but if I had you, I would, man. It's great having you on.
You you listen to XL out there? Is that the big sports station?
So I don't even really listen to the radio, man. I just turn on my YouTube and listen to Jaguars press conferences and cry about how bad we are. But this year it's been better so far. So we'll see. It's still early.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, thanks for coming on. Thank everybody for watching this AFC South show number 62. Go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button. My son is doing it right now. And everybody be good people.
Duval